Hello, 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 everyone. Let's see who is going to join us today. Please go ahead and say hello in the comments so I know who's hanging out with us this afternoon. We are making 3 cards today, all featuring the adorable Simply Leaves bundle by Stampin' Up. And you definitely want to stick around for card number 3 because that one is pretty cool. So we're going to go through our housekeeping real quick. I'm going to share with our groups to make sure everybody can find us. Nice and easy like, so bear with me while I do that real quick. Yeah, let's see. There it is, nice and easy. Thank you, Facebook. Okay. There's our VIPs and our team. All right, so we can get this out of the way. All right, real quick, Paper Pumpkin. Paper Pumpkin, we are in the July subscription period. We have from now. Oh, wait a minute. I'm sorry. We're in the August subscription period. I'm losing time like crazy. So we are now in the August subscription period because it is now July 12th. Our July kit has shipped as well, actually ships tomorrow because we are on the 11th. They ship and we are the weekend, so it'll ship on Monday. But anyway, needless to say, the July kits will be in the mail on Monday, and we are now looking at August, which is the Kindred Readings Kit. This one says, send timeless, understated cards with heartfelt messages of comfort and appreciation. Again, we'll make 9 cards, 3 each of 3 designs. You'll get 9 coordinating envelopes. You'll get your pre-cut paper pieces and intricate pre-cut card fronts. So it looks like we're going to have these lacy card fronts. With like a leaf pattern maybe. Gray and white twine, and coordinating colors will be basic gray, calypso coral, gray granite, Lost Lagoon, petal pink, and pool party. And our ink spot will be gray granite. So those will be a really big card, it looks like. I will tell you from now until August 10th, Stampin' Up is offering a 25% discount. Hey, Kay, so glad you could make it. For new subscribers. So if you subscribe to Paper Pumpkin for the month of August, you will get a 25% discount on that. The other thing is my friend Cindy and I have teamed up and we are now offering a tutorial of alternate cards for our Paper Pumpkin subscribers. You must be a subscriber through one of us to get that free tutorial, but it will offer 4 alternate cards using your Paper Pumpkin kit. So just something to think about. If you're not already a subscriber, we would love to have you join us. It does coordinate with the detailed flora dies that are an add-on available while supplies last. And I did check this morning and they are still available. And they are a nice set of dies. So anywho, that's Paper Pumpkin. Oops. The product of the month. This month is the Begonia Bell stamp set. Again, spend $75 in our online store, and you can add the product of the month to your order for just $5 for that month. And this month happens to be a stamp set, which is the Begonia Bell. Very pretty flowers, if that interests you. Who is excited about the Metallic Magic, the Stampin' Cut and Emboss machine's new best friend? I'm still waiting on mine. UPS happened to lose my order completely. So Stampin' Up has shipped me a new one. It'll be here on Friday. But in the meantime, I've been watching lots of fun demonstrator using it and showing their beautiful creations with this. And I am really excited to get my hands on this. It is a add-on to your Stampin' Cut and Emboss machine. Oh, hey, Sherry. So you must have a Stampin' Cut and Emboss machine. It will not work, I'm being told, with a Big Shot or any other cutting machine out there. So you definitely have to have the large full-size cut and emboss machine. It does heat. There are special dies you use with it. It does not work with your normal cutting dies, so they are a special die, and they are specifically for heating up. It comes with a little magnet here for touching your hot dies. And then, of course, there's the foils. The foils come in silver, gold, and pink. It did go live to customers on Friday, the 10th, and they are offering several die options. They do anticipate this first go round with this is going to sell out rather quickly. Hey, Barb. Hello, Sherry. So if this is something you're interested in, they do recommend that you not hesitate and get yours. Otherwise, it's probably going to be closer to the end of the year before they get another shipment in. They've already begun ordering the next shipment, but it does take quite some time to get the stuff in. So yeah. What else can I tell you about this other than the fact that it's really cool? It does make some beautiful images with the foil. And yeah, I'm excited. I can't wait to get my hands on it. Of course, we have the July online exclusives. Excuse me. Tonight, our bundle that we, are using. I got the hiccups all of a sudden. I don't know where those came from. We're using the Simply Leaves bundle. So I'm going to show that to you tonight. Oops. And that's it for housekeeping. And let me show you the cards we're making. So, card number 1, we are doing our leaves here. Did a little fussy cutting for the 2 leaves. And then, of course, we have the leafy embossed background. And I used the 2-tone cardstock. And we did a little bit of sanding on there to give that little textured look. Card number 2, we have our 3 leaves and our little Thinking of You Often. And I use some new Designer Series paper, which I love. And then, of course, we have our final card. This one is kind of the wow card. This one's using the Stampin Emboss Resist, where we use our clear embossing powder, melt it, and then we go over it with our sprayer, and those colors just kind of pop. And of course, we added some leaves. I did a little bit of spatter on there. Just some fun. All right. Who's ready to get started tonight? All righty. So we're going to start with this first card. This is the I'm Grateful for Your Kindness. And so for this one, let's get the right kit here. We have a pumpkin pie card base, 8.5 by 5.5, scored at 4 1/4. So we're going to go ahead and fold on our score line. We're going to make sure everything lines up nice, and use our bone clipper to give us a nice crisp edge. Okay. Next, let's see. I have a crumb cake layer. This measures 3 1/4 by 4 1/4. And then I have a piece of the 2-toned cardstock in pumpkin pie. And this measures 3 inches by 4 1/4. So these are going to line up edge to edge, but you're going to have a little bit of a border like so. Okay. So before we do that though, I do have an embossing folder. This is from the new seasonal cheer embossing folders. They are the minis. You get the candy cane, the leaf, and then of course the little bats. and we're using the leaves again. So set that aside. I have my little leaves, and I'm putting the dark side of the, because it's a two-tone, so there's a light side, dark side. I want the dark side up, and that's up facing the Stampin' Up logo. So we're going to put this in here straight, like so. And then we're going to bring our baby boss up. So there's the baby boss. And we need plate number 1 and plate number 3. This over here, I guess. So we're going to take plate number 1 with our embossing folder with our paper. And then we're going to put the plate number 3 and run them through. Now we have our little piece here. Now I need my little sanding block. Now, ladies, I give you permission to raid your husband's toolbox and get a little piece of sandpaper. I'm using a retired Stampin' Up sanding block, but you do not have to have one of these. You just go to your husband's tool chest and find some sandpaper. Any grit will do. This is a coarse, and I'm just going to lightly go over the top of this. It just gives it a little extra texture, and it's a cool effect. I love this two-tone cardstock for this technique right here. That looks good. And now I'm looking for, there it is, my adhesive. Flip that over. And then these just line up. Just like so. And then flip that. And then this just goes into the center of our card base. Just like so. All right. I also have a scrap piece of crumb cake, and I'm looking for, I'm grateful for your kindness, and we're going to use early espresso. Grateful for your kindness. Then I have here crumb cake ink and lemon lolly. So I'm going to start with my crumb cake. I have a scrap of crumb cake cardstock, and I'm using this little leaf with the veins. Oops, something on there. Now this one does not coordinate with the punch. The punch is a larger leaf, and I'll show that to you in just a second. Getting this inked up, and So just stamp like so. I really should have brought in, actually I'm going to do that right now. We're going to stamp that again. We're going to flip this over. And I have my little piercing mat so we get a better image. There we go. That looks better. Now we're going to clean this off. Okay. That off, close this up, and now I have lemon lolly and I have a scrap of basic white. I'm using that same stamp. Ooh. We're just gonna stamp our lemon lolly. Goes there. Okay, now our leaves. We have our little snips here. These are not a difficult shape to fussy cut, so if I can fussy cut it, anybody can fussy cut it. So there's one leaf. And our second leaf. This one, like I said, is our lemon lolly. Okay, there's our. That one didn't come out very good. My lighting over here is not the best. Okay, there's our leaf. And then I have my Stylish Shapes dies. And I have the largest banner piece. And let's bring a little bit of tape. There we go. Bring back that baby boss again. And I can't hang on to anything tonight. There we go. Thank you, Kay. They are pretty fall colors, I thought. They go very well together. All right, so there is our banner. It can go into our little trash pile. Side. And now for these, we're going to pop this up on a couple dimensionals, or 3 to be exact. And then we're just going to peel. And this is just going to go on the center. like so. Oh, hey, sis. And then I am going to take a dimensional on our lemon lolly leaf. And that's gonna, like so. And then another one. This one here. Then I have here some linen thread. Which I will say I use linen thread on every one of these cards because linen thread is probably my favorite fall card embellishment. Just fuss a little bit with it till it's the way you want it. And then, once I'm happy, I cut the tails off. And we do need a glue dot. Use my take your pick tool to grab that off the glue dot holder. And we're just going to put that right there. And that finishes our first card. So that first card goes extremely quickly. And I do like it. I love that two-tone cardstock for that little bit of sanding. Get that white peeking through. All right, so we are cooking. We are already on to our second card, which is super quick and easy. And I haven't shown you yet the punch. This is the simple leaf punch. It does cut out the larger leaves in the stamp set. There you go. Now you can see it. And the smaller ones you do have to fussy cut. But they're so easy to do. Keep this from going away. We'll have to get right in there. All right. So for this card, again, just a simple layout that really packs a bit of a punch here. I have a Cajun Craze card base. This is 8.5 by 5.5. Scored at 4 1/4. So of course, you just line up those corners, make sure everything lines up nicely, and take that bone folder and varnish it down so we have a nice card base. Next, I have a piece of the Golden Glow, which is one of our new in colors. This measures 5 by 3 3/4. And then I have a piece of the Designer Series paper. This is the 2026 to 2028 in color gingham Designer Series paper. So it comes in all of the new in colors. And it's beautiful. I love gingham anyway, so this is like one of my favorite packs. And I'm using the large gingham check, not the small. And this measures 4 3/4 by 3 1/2. And we're going to layer these together. So I'm going to go ahead and add my adhesive. And as always, I do like to remind everybody that if you are a subscriber to my email, the directions for the measurements for all of these cards will arrive in your inbox tomorrow. If you are not a subscriber, not sure why you're not, but the link is in the description of this video, so I'd love to have you join. But if you prefer not to, but you still want the PDF tutorial, I do post that on my blog tomorrow as well. So you'll be able to find a button on my blog that links right to the directions. All right, so I'm going to add adhesive to this now, and we're going to add this to our card base. And that goes right on the center here. Oop. Trying to get it on straight. There we go. Well, thanks, sis. All right, so there's the start of our card base. Next, I have a scrap of crumb cake, and I also have a scrap of designer series paper, only this time I'm going to have the smaller gingham. And bringing back my little cushion here, because again, that will do better. And I have this dotted vein. So we're going to use the dotted vein, and we're going to use Mossy Meadow. Ooh. Mossy Meadow here. Our vein. So I'm going to stamp one, and then I'm going to stamp two, and then we're going to stamp there's. Actually, I think I might have went a little too low on that, so let's flip this around. There we go. That's better. And clean off our stamp. Okay. Next, punch out our leaves. So there's one. And good. There's two. And then I'm just going to go ahead, trim that off. And there's our third one. Okay. So these can go into the scrap pile. There's lots of real estate left. And we do have this is a 1/2 inch wide piece of the Golden Glow. And I have my sentiment, thinking of you often. And again, still using the Mossy Meadow. Just thinking of you often. Clean off the stamp. All right. For our sentiment here, we're just going to take our snips and we're just going to cut it off at an angle like so. Save this for another project. And we have our thinking of you. And now we have our leaves. So again, we're going to bring back our dimensionals. So leaf 1. It's going to go like so. Leaf 2. There we go. So, and then our third leaf. Like so. And now we have our sentiment. That just goes in like so and pops out. Bring back that linen thread. Try another. Whoop. Let's try that again. The linen thread is too curly. Just keep stretching it out and it will make it a little bit more cooperative. Okay, there we go. This is better. There we go. And then we're going to trim those tails again. Grab another glue dot. And that's going to tuck right up in there. Like so. And that finishes our second card. All right, now we're on to the fun card. This one you got to get a little messy for, but it is fun. It does have a little bit of a rustic feel to it, especially if you're not very good with your embossing buddy. And I forgot to use it, so I have embossing powder that kind of got places where it shouldn't be. But I don't mind my card having a little bit of extra in there. So how we start with this one, though, is this one's got a lot of extra pieces here. All right, so we start with an early espresso card base, 8.5 by 5.5, scored at 4 1/4. I'm going to fold on that score line. Make sure everything lines up. And burnish. All right. Then I have a piece of pumpkin pie. This is 5 by 3 3/4. And then I have a piece of basic white, which is 4 3/4 by 3.5. And let's get extra pieces in here for now. We're not ready for that. We have lots of other pieces in here, but we'll get to those. So we're going to start with our piece here first. And I need a cherry cobbler. I have Daffodil Delight. And I have pumpkin pie and mossy meadow. So we're going to start, and I also have here some scrap paper, and I have some blending brushes. So we're going to start with the Daffodil Delight. I'm going to just pick up some color, and then starting on our scrap and working our way onto our paper here, I'm just going to add some of the Daffodil Delight. I'm going to flip this around, and we're going to come from this corner as well. So pick up a little more color, starting onto our scrap. I'm going to put some more of that Daffodil Delight. Now, it's easier to add color than it is to take it away. So you want to start light and then just build your color. And this looks pretty good to me. I don't want to get any heavier than that. So that's that color. So we're going to close up the Daffodil Delight. Next, I'm going to use my pumpkin pie. I have my pumpkin pie. And I think I'll come from here. And again, starting on my scratch paper, because again, you want to come in kind of on a light-handed. I'm just going to keep adding. Like so. That looks pretty good. So next, we're going to use our cherry cobbler. So we're going to come in, get some of that color picked up. And again, starting off and working our way on. Gives you a nice soft blend. Like so. All right. So we're finished with the cherry cobbler. And now I'm going to bring in that mossy meadow. So that color. Just slowly begin adding it into the white space. And that is how you start with your color for this Emboss Resist technique. All right, so now I am going to take my embossing buddy. I'm going to put that over. And I'm just going to, normally you're doing this to your cardstock anyway when you're doing embossing, just because you don't want any of your oily fingerprints, any static. But in this case, you're also kind of drying it as well, because that ink does tend to dampen your cardstock when you're putting this much. So I'm going to go a little heavier than I normally would with the embossing buddy, which is just a powder filled bag here that removes oils static. So your embossing powder only sticks where you want it. So hopefully I'll get a little bit of a better. But like I said, I'm still happy with my card. I think it still came out pretty good. All right. So that looks pretty good. I think we're pretty well good there. All right. So now I have my Versamark ink pad. I have my clear embossing powder. I have all my little tools here. I have my tray, my little brush, and my tweezers for when we do go to heat this up. But first we got to put our leaves in place. So I'm using this large leaf here. And I'm using this little leaf. And where's my leaf? Here it is. This one here. And I don't think I'm going to use that one. Just these. So we're going to start. First of all, we're going to ink this up really well. And we're going to go right for the middle here. I probably should have. Ooh. There we go. Okay. And I'm going to do another coming in here. And maybe like so. All right. Now we'll fill in with our smaller. Just gotta see. And take this one with the little veins. And now I'm gonna just see. Can't tell if I put one there or not. I think I'm good. All right. I think I might be good. All right. Now cover that up. Bring this back in. Let's see. Probably should have turned my fan away. I'm going to be blowing water all over. Oh, well. Once we have our powder on, then it's easier to see where we are maybe missing. I see where there's some powder sticking. Okay, and I think we should probably add one more little partial. Put this one in upside down like this, just to fill in that space there. And then okay, I think that should do it. I'm going to set this aside and pray I don't knock it over, because that would be a disaster. All right, now we need our tweezers. And our heat tool. Of course, I didn't plug the heat tool in. Wouldn't that be a novel idea? So where is plug? Yes. There we are. All right, let's get this heated up. Yeah, that gingham paper is awesome, Barb. It's beautiful. Love the colors. All right, so now we'll just melt our powder. There it goes. Let's see, did I get it all? Okay, I think we got it all melted now. Maybe. Okay, we did. All right, we're melted. Oh, I see a disaster waiting. Okay. All right. Next thing, my brayer. You do need a brayer for this. And I'm using Early Espresso ink. And we're just going to pick up ink. And Then you just start rolling. And what's going to happen is the areas that are embossed are going to resist the ink, but the areas that aren't embossed are going to take on this dark color. See, making sure you use enough embossing buddy powder does do a much better job as far as not having stray embossing powder. Oh, nice, Barb. That would be cool. Okay. I think we're pretty good. One more here. There we go. That looks good. This has to go into the sink for a quick rinse, but easy cleanup from that. Then we're going to take a Kleenex and you're just going to rub your embossed leaves to get that excess ink off. And that helps brighten your colors. Like so. All right, now we're going to go ahead. Powder everywhere. Oof. So this is going to back our pumpkin pie. Head. Those colors really pop once you put it on the pumpkin pie layer. See that? Everything has got little bits of powder on it now. Ooh. Okay. And then this goes on to our card base, like so. A little bit straighter. Thanks, Kay. It is a cool technique. I love it. It's one of my favorite, especially in the fall, because I love fall colors. It's kind of like a go-to technique for me. All right, so that part is done. That's the hardest part of this whole card. Now we need all of those little bits and pieces we just had here. What did I do with them? I know I set them aside. Here they are. All right, so I have a scrap 3/4 inch wide piece for our sentiment of crumb cake. I have some scrap basic white for a couple of leaves. I have scrap crumb cake for a leaf. I have a scrap basic white to cut out our circle. And then for our 2 small fussy cut leaves, I have a little scrap of white here. So we're going to bring back our cushion. And we're going to stamp those 2 little leaves first. And for those, I need petal pink. And there's my cherry cobbler. All right, so let's start with the petal pink. And that one is our little leaf with the vein. So we're gonna stamp that. Oh, no worries, sis. All right, now we have our cherry cobbler. And there's our cherry cobbler gingham. All right, so we're gonna grab our clean them off. All right, and we'll fussy cut those in a bit. Then I need, this one is for, no, that wasn't it. Here it is. We need the early espresso. And there's that. That'll get punched. And we need our scrap here. In this one, we are going to stamp this one here. This leaf, and this is going to be done in mossy meadow. Just stuck my finger right in the ink. If you're not inky, have you really been stamping? Just a question. All right. And then we want our polka dots. Where's our polka dot leaf? Here it is. And that one is going to be done in Darling Duckling. No. No, we're not going to do Darling Duckling. We're going to do Daffodil Delight. like so. Okay. And heat it up. Oh, you know what? Let's do our sentiment too while we're here. Get all our stamping done, and then we'll do our punching and die cutting. All right, so for this, we have a little something to say hello. And we're using our early espresso on crumb cake. Like I said, this crumb cake piece is 3/4 of an inch wide. And then we're just going to trim it down for our sentiment. Okay, so for that, we just do our snips. And we're just going to go like so. Actually, let's get that a little bit straighter. So there's our sentiment. So our sentiment is set. That goes back into our scrap for future use. All right, so I'm going to set that aside, and I need my punch. I'll start with that. So we're going to punch. Line it up. Just one. Two. Three. Quick fussy cuts. Just one. Here's our second one there. Then I just need, I'm using the second largest circle from our Stylish Shapes dies. And I'm just going to cut out a little circle here for us. So we need to bring back our plates. Through. And now this card is going to go together very, very quickly. Okay. Dimensionals for the circle. And that goes here in the lower left corner. Then, and find our adhesive. I know it's here in front of my face. So that's just going to kind of poke out there. The green mossy meadow, we're going to give a couple of dimensionals. Just like that. And then our petal pink. Cherry cobbler. And then our sentiment. Dimensionals all there. These kind of straddle everything there. Actually, there we go. And then I have here the medium deep Stampin' Blend, and took this. Now, this is not something you want to do a lot with your markers because it will damage the tip, but you can do it a little. A spatter. There we go. So now I have a little splatter on my card. And again, I'm going to get our linen thread here. Tie this nice bow. Again, just fuss with it just a smidge, just to get a nice bow like so. And we're gonna trim that down. Grab another glue dot. And that's gonna tuck right under that sentiment like so. And then I have these earthy matte dots. They go with this perfectly. If I can get them out. There we go. All right. So we're just going to grab cherry cobbler, small one, and one of these nice early espressos. And that finishes our third card. So you can see the difference using your embossing buddy makes, whereas here I didn't use it, but I still like the effect. So there it is. All right, real quick recap. we are thinking of you often. And of course, I'm grateful for you, or for your kindness. I'm grateful for your kindness. And then a little something to say hello. So there are our fall greeting cards using the July online exclusives. And again, quick, easy, throw in that one technique. That one was our most time-consuming card, but again, it was a simple card. There was nothing difficult. You just need to have a brayer, and you can use sponge daubers, you can use sponges, you can use your blending brushes to just the color on your basic white piece. Then you would stamp with your clear embossing sticky ink. Use your clear embossing powder, heat it, and then use your brayer to apply a dark ink over the top. And then that beautiful color comes through. It's probably one of the first techniques I learned as a card maker. So, again, one of them things that I always come back to, especially this time of year. All right, my friends, don't forget 25% off this month on Paper Pumpkin. If you did want to get involved with that, that's perfect for a beginner. Everything you need is included in the box, including adhesive. So if this is something that you're interested in getting started with, but not sure where to start, that's a perfect place. Well, thanks, Barb. I appreciate that. I'm glad you liked them. All right, my friends, again, thank you so much for coming to hang out with me this Sunday evening. I truly appreciate each and every one of you, and I wish you all a fabulous rest of your evening and an even better week ahead. God willing, I will see you next week with some more crafty fun. Bye for now.